Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a working carousel. Yep, you heard me right. This one actually works, and here's how. So if we make our way over to the control panel, which is in this handy little hut right of the carousel, and we flip this switch and make our way back to the carousel, and if we hop in a minecart and give ourselves a little bit of a push, you'll find that you can race around the carousel with all of the other minecarts and give yourself a really bad headache by staring at your screen intently. And once you've decided that you're sick of getting hypnotized by the minecarts, by the carousel, you can head all the way back over to the little control panel here, flick off that switch, and you will find that the carousel has stopped. I will show you how to make every single aspect of this carousel, which does include the redstone. However, I will leave that until the very end of the tutorial, just in case there's some of you that aren't really too bothered about it actually working, and you just want the lovely aesthetic of the carousel itself. If you enjoy builds like this, please do give this video a like and a share. I'd really appreciate it. Comment down below what else we should add to our theme park, and also subscribe for more. Check out the cards, check out the description below. You'll be able to find loads and loads of things that you would love to add to a theme park down there in the description and the card system. Also, follow me on Twitter at TSMC360. If you make this, show me a picture of it. That's way more than enough talking, however. Why don't I show you how to make this carousel? So, if you want to make it, here's what you'll need. Grab yourself some quartz slabs, some quartz stairs, some red hardened clay, some block of redstone, some redstone lance, some birchwood fence, some oakwood stairs, some oakwood slabs, and some spruce wood fence. Plus, we'll need all of the other materials that you can see in the inventory right there. Plus, probably even more. We always need more than we actually grab, so make sure you have everything. And once you do have everything, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'm going to be making mine. I think right about here is quite good. I'm making my own theme park. There's not that much in it at the moment, but I am definitely going to be expanding it, and I think that the carousel would look good up front in the theme park. Don't you guys? Yeah, I think so as well. It needs to be about here, I think. Well, what you're going to want to do is, once you've picked the spot you want to make it, you want to take out your red hardened clay, and looking down at the ground like this, down at the ground, you want to begin with a row of 5 red hardened clay in a row on the floor. It'll look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking down at the ground. Take that 5th block, and doing an upright diagonal from it, do an upright diagonal. Go right by 2. Do 2 upright diagonals, 1 and 2. Go up by 2, 1, 2. Do an upright diagonal, go up by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an up left diagonal, go up by 2. Do 2 up left diagonals, left by 2, do an up left diagonal, left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, do a bottom left diagonal, left by 2, then do 2 bottom left diagonals, 1, 2, down by 2, bottom left diagonal, down by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, do a bottom right diagonal, down by 2, 2 bottom right diagonals, go right by 2. You'll end up with a shape that should look very much like that, and that is of course the base of the carousel. Next thing we're going to do here is we are going to add a layer of quartz slab directly on top of the layer of red stained clay that we now have. So just add a layer of quartz slab on top of the red stained clay that we now have. So this will take a second or two, but it is necessary, and we'll just want to end up with something that should look like this. Now, at the beginning of the carousel, at the front, we're going to want to be able to access it. So place a wooden stairs in the front center of your carousel. That's mine, like that's where the front center of my carousel is. Yours might be different, it might be any one of the other 3 sides facing another way. I'm going to destroy the quartz block behind it, and I'm going to place an oakwood slab behind the stairs. I'm going to place a red stained clay left and right of that stairs, and in front of the red stained clay, I'll place quartz stairs with quartz slabs on top of them. Then, on each one of the... You want to take each one of the rows of 3 that you have with the red stained clay and the quartz slabs on top of them, and you want to destroy the center block. Underneath that center block, you want to have a redstone lamp that is powered, so it's lit up like that. But also, on top of that block, you want to have an upside down quartz stairs. And you want the stairs to face in the direction that you are. So, like, this is the front, we want the upside down quartz stairs to face towards us. We also have another row of 3, so we'll destroy the center block, we'll dig below it, we'll throw a block of redstone in there, redstone lamp, and then we'll place an upside down quartz stairs on top. And we want to do the same for every single other one of those rows of 3, and this is a little bit time consuming because we do have to dig into the ground and we have to be very, very careful, but it's definitely worth it because it does just add like an extra layer of detail to this carousel that is definitely appreciable, and it does look very, very nice. I've tried it without it, I've tried it with just like glowstone to save a little bit of time, and I can tell you that the lamps look a lot better than anything else that you could really add to it, even like sea lanterns or something like that. It definitely adds to your carousel. It's something that you're going to want to make sure that you do, and like I said, I know that it's a little bit tricky and a little bit fiddly, but it's absolutely worth it, and that is going to be that. So that's what you want to have so far, right? Next thing we want to do is this. So we want to take each one of the 4 single blocks of the carousel. You can see them in the corners. They are just single diagonals connected together with the rows of 3. We want to add a quartz slab on top of each one of those single half slabs in the corners. On top of that, we want to do 2 birchwood fence, 1 and 2. And this wants to carry around onto each individual corner block. So on each one of the quartz blocks that we've now formed, we want to have 2 birchwood fence. And on top of those, we want to have a quartz block. So on top of the birchwood fence, we want to have a quartz block. And once we have the quartz block, I'll explain to you what you're going to want to do next, because it's a little bit tricky. There we go, that's what we want to have, right? Now what we want to do is we want to take out our quartz slabs, and we want to emulate the shape. This means basically copy the shape that we have down below. So like the circle of the carousel, right? We want to copy that, and we want to use our quartz slabs on the upper half of the row of block of quartz that we have on each one of the 4 corners. And we want to trace along, and we want to have the same shape that we do up above as we do down below. I'm sure that you guys know what I'm talking about, and the easiest way to do this is to quite simply like copy what you have down below. So just copy the circular shape. I don't really have to give you guys any instructions for this, and it's really hard to give you guys instructions for this particular part because it's not as if I can say like do a bottom left diagonal or anything like that. You've just got to copy the shape that you have down below, essentially. I'm sure that you guys will manage to get this no problem. And it becomes even easier to see what you have to do when you look down below at what you've made, and you'll be able to tell immediately whether you've done that right or not. Now, once you have done that, this is what we want to do next. So, take out your quartz stairs. Place a quartz stairs in the center of the rows of 5 that you have on the sides of your carousel, and in the center of your rows of 3. The stairs want to face the same way as you are facing at the current time. So this is the front. If we come to the side, we'll want to place a stair in the center of the 3, the center of the 5, the center of the 3. And then on the back, we want to do the same thing. And on the right hand side, of course we don't discriminate. We want to do the same thing here as well to give us this. Behind each one of the stairs, place a block of redstone. This is because we are going to be lighting this thing up a little bit in just a moment. So just place the redstone block. It's the easiest way to light things up. What we now want to do is add a layer of redstone clay on top of the other blocks of quartz and the other quartz slabs. So you just simply want to add a layer of redstone clay going all the way around, connecting all of those quartz stairs together in a circular shape like that. What we now want to do is we want to place a redstone lamp on top of each one of the blocks of redstone. This will provide some light. It'll make things look a little bit nicer, and there's no other reason that I need to give you to do them. Now what we want to do is we want to connect all of this together, and the way that we're going to do it is in the same row as we have the redstone lamps, we want to one row higher and one row above what we've made, so the circular shape that we have. We want to have a row of red stained clay, or red hardened clay as it's now known. We want to have this trace around the shape that we have at the top of our carousel. Now, I've already done a generous portion of this because I feel as though it's easier to see what you have to do rather than me try and talk you through it, but you kind of just want to connect everything together. You want it to connect at the corners, and it wants to look a little something like that if you can see what we've added there. Now, I know that's a little difficult to kind of see, isn't it? It's kind of a bit difficult to see, but I'm sure that you guys will be able to grasp what we've done there anyway, no problemo. Now, once you have done that, this is what we're going to do next. We're now inside of this, we're going to using a different material because it will be easier for us, right? So we'll use something like, actually, you know what? Quartz slabs might be a good idea. So inside what we've just made, we kind of want to go all the way around the inside of what we've just made with the quartz slabs. And we want to just kind of trace along the inside, and we do want to connect at the corners. And it's just going to look like a nice geometric pattern. You guys will be able to see what I'm talking about in just a second. So behind all of the lamps and behind all of the red stained clay, we want to have I guess it kind of looks like a star shape, kinda. Well, we want to go around on top of that star shape, and we want to do a layer of quartz stairs that goes all the way around the top of the quartz slabs. And we want the quartz stairs to form a nice shape, like it wants to connect at the corners properly. It wants to form proper bends at the corners like this. You don't want any like weird aberrant sticking out stairs. You guys know what I'm talking about. So we just want to have it looking all nice and normal, and it'll end up looking, you see, you've got to connect it properly, otherwise it won't connect. And it wants to end up looking a little something like that. And if we have a look from up above, there we are, perfect. Okay. This is what we're going to do next. We're going to add a layer of red hardened clay inside at the top of what we've just made. So we're finally going to put a lid on this carousel, and we are going to, well, I guess, literally do that. We're going to put a lid on this carousel with our red hardened clay, like this. So just add a layer of red hardened clay, going all the way around the top of what we've just made. So basically just sitting in there, forming a solid flat shape. Next, what we want to do is, I suppose a little bit tricky, but you want to place a block of redstone right in the very top center block at the top of the carousel. You guys will be able to see where it is. I'm sure you'll be able to find the center. It's really easy. Place a redstone lamp on top of that, left, right, behind and in front of that block. Place a layer of quartz slabs that goes all the way around the base of the lamps. So you want to have something which should look a little bit like that. That's what the top of the carousel looks like. It looks kind of nice, actually. Now, come underneath the carousel, and you want to once again find the center block. It might be a little trickier to find, but I think we've just found it. You want to find the center block of the carousel. And you want to take that center block, like underneath, like the same one where you place like the block of redstone. And like I said, it is a bit trickier to find. So if you want, like once you found it on top, right, you can like destroy the block, and you can like follow it down, kind of like I just have, and you can like follow it all the way down here. And I'm just going to do a row of redstone that starts all the way from like down the bottom here, and it runs all the way up to the top like this, and then I'm going to just put the lamp back on top. So if that makes sense, you want to kind of find the very center point of the carousel like this. So you may have noticed that the video has just cut in a really weird way. The reason is I have just realized that now is the perfect time for us to set up the redstone structure of the carousel. So once you have connected the row of redstone blocks from the top to the bottom, the next thing that you're going to want to do is dig out underneath this carousel. So you don't actually have to dig too far. I'm in a super flat world, which means that digging to bedrock for me is really only just a few blocks. Like, I believe it's only about 3 rows. So I would suggest digging about 3 or so rows underneath the center of the carousel. It's going to take a little while, but trust me when I tell you that it is going to make the next bit a lot easier if you dig underneath the carousel and you leave all of it exposed. It really is, because otherwise you're just going to be encumbered by dirt blocks and anything else that might be in the way. It's just so much easier to clear the base of the carousel, and then I can easily show you what you have to do redstone wise down below here. If you don't want to, then don't worry. You don't have to, it's just, it makes it easier, especially for the tutorial. So, I'm just going to continue digging out the rest of this. I'll speed it up for your convenience. Alright, there we go. We've dug out the base of it. Like I said, it's not 100% completely necessary, it's just easier for us. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to put a little bit of a roof. Basically, we're adding the floor of the carousel. I said roof because we've kind of now created a little underground bunker underneath the carousel, but we're adding a roof. It's made out of oak wood slabs, and the oak wood slabs are half a row below the quartz slabs that we have on these sides of the carousel. You can see me adding it in here. And luckily for us, we already added in the floor lamps that go all the way around the carousel, and this means that we actually have sufficient lighting down there. Or at least I hope so. I really do hope so. So the next thing we are going to do, because it is kind of a convenience for us to do it now, is we are going to focus on the redstone, because we should definitely do that before we start adding the nice little bits of detail to this, just because it's just going to be good if we can get it out of the way, and then we can focus on the things that will make the carousel look nicer, like adding the horses and adding more lights and adding stuff like that. It's just going to be good if we can get all of that out of the way, all of the technical stuff that is, and then we can focus on just the stuff that has to look good, because that's my speciality. I don't really like any of this redstone stuff, but that is what we want to have. Now, once you've got that taken care of, we're now going to grab a couple of materials that we don't have. I told you guys we need them. We'll need rails and powered rails. So, it's kind of up to you how big this track is. I haven't made my track very big. As a matter of fact, like, my track comes out to about here. And I'm going to place a powered rail in the center of each one of the 4 sides of the carousel, and it is going to be 2 blocks away from the side. So, as you can see, 1 and 2, and we have a powered rail. And if we come to this side, like 1 and 2, we have a powered rail. And if we come to the back, 1 and 2, center block, powered rail. And on this side as well, 1 and 2, powered rail, like that. I'm now going to connect each one of the powered rails together. I'm going to do this in kind of like a bendy fashion like this. To achieve this sort of look, all you have to do is, like, just looking at it, it's like left, up, left, up, left, up, left, up, left. And left, up, left, up, left, up, left, up, left. Kind of looks like a snake. Left, up, left, up, left, up, left, up, left. There we go, perfect. So that'll give you a nice even shape going around your carousel, and you can see now where the mine carts are going to go. But the reason that this is important is because it shows us where we're going to have to place our torches. Now, there may very well be an easier way to do this. I'm well aware that there is probably an easier way to do this, but this is the way that I've done it because I'm not good at redstone. So, now that we know where each one of the 4 powered rails are, I've marked it out in the ground with an oak wood slab, so I know where they are, because we're now going to go underground, and we're going to power up each one of the rails. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to use a block, like red hardened clay is fine. We'll need some redstone torches, we'll need some redstone. We'll also need some sort of switch. It'd also be good if we had a material which we don't have, which is going to be the redstone repeaters, just to make the signal a little bit stronger where we need to. So, underneath where we have each one of the rails, we're going to want to have underground a block of like red hardened clay. So red hardened clay underneath where each one of the powered rails are, just above us. So make sure that you have a red hardened clay underneath each one of the powered rails. Okay, so now that you've placed each one of those clays, add another red stained clay coming inwards from each one of those clays. Destroy the original outer clays, like this, and then place a redstone torch in the position just directly underneath where each one of the powered rails are, like that. So now that we have each one of the redstone torches in the relevant positions, we now want to add an additional oak wood slab underneath each one of the powered rails, because for whatever reason, the powered rails won't receive the redstone signal unless that they're on a solid block, which they currently aren't. So you'll actually be able to see the difference. Now if we hop up here, you'll be able to see that each one of the rails are now being powered by the redstone torches, in which they previously wouldn't have been, and you might have experienced that problem. We're now going to take out our red hardened clay and destroy the center structure right here down below in the center of the carousel. And I'm just going to seal up that little hole with oak wood slabs. What we now want to do is this. We want to place a red hardened clay underneath each one of the red hardened clays that hold the torches. We're going to connect the red hardened clays together in the center to form a plus shape like this. We're going to add dust in between them. So we're going to add a row of redstone dust all the way in between them, like this. What we now want to do is figure out where we want to turn on and off the carousel. So do we want to turn it off on the right, the back, the left? Where do we want to turn it off? Well, I'm going to turn mine on and off on the right. So, coming back down below here, I'm going to run a row of red stained clay out to the right outside of the carousel. So I'm going to have to dig underground for this, and I'm going to dig a row that leads me outside of the carousel, and I'm going to use red stained clay like this. And that's actually going to have to be one row lower. You're going to want to make sure that you drop down a row for this, because we have to be able to cover the ground back up. So we need to be able to cover the ground back up above this. So make sure you're at least 2 rows deep. I'm going to lead this row out to the side of the carousel like this. Now I'm going to form the hut where we're going to turn things on and off. The hut's very easy. It begins with a row of 4 red hardened clay in a row on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we extend that 4th block towards us by 3. 1, 2, 3. Left by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm just going to place another block coming towards back. Actually, you can connect them together. Then I'm going to add a layer of white stained glass block on top of the layer of red hardened clay. Then I'm going to add another layer of red hardened clay on top of the glass like this. Then I'm going to destroy a hole big enough so that we can walk in and out of this. It kind of depends where the hole is. Like, that's why I waited until that was just finished. It really does depend where you're going to be running the circuit to. Mine is going to be ran to here in the ground, so I want my circuit to be here. Does that make any sense? I want the circuit, I want the entrance to be on the opposite side of where we're going to be running all of the redstone. So now that we have the little control panel figured out, we're going to run redstone dust coming all the way from our little plus shaped circuit, and we're going to run it all the way to the inside of our control panel like this, and it's going to come all the way to this block. On top of this block, we're going to place a switch and make sure that that powers an and unpowers the actual redstone dust. You may find that you might have to add like a redstone repeater or two, you know, somewhere in the line just to make sure that the signal is extended. I'm just going to make sure that it actually goes far enough now. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to make sure that everywhere gets power. And if everything is powered, if that switch is switched on, then it will deactivate each one of the 4 redstone torches, like that. So now if we were to go back and we snap that power back off, now each one of the rails are still active. Oh, now that the rails are activated, because of course we cut the power from the switch, which means the torches are on now, and if we were to then flip them off, then the rails would not be on. And that is exactly what we're after. So we're now just going to cover up any oak wood blocks that we may have destroyed up here, because that is all of the technical stuff done. And you might also want to make the little control hut look a little bit nicer. You might want to use some carpet for this. Some white carpet I think is alright. So you might just want to fill the floor in with white carpet, and that also includes just above where you have the redstone dust. Right there. And then later on, I'll be filling in the floor surrounding the carousel with stone slabs, and those stone slabs won't affect the circuit in the slightest, and neither will the carpet. So that is why we dug it that deep, and that is why we used the carpet. There we go. Perfect. Now that all of the technical stuff is done, let's talk about the actual carousel itself, like all of the fun things that we can now do to it. So you might want to add some additional lights to the carousel. Grab some redstone lamps, some block redstone. We have to also add like horses and stuff to the carousel. So like dark oak wood fence, some like spruce wood fence, some quartz stairs, some quartz slabs, stuff like that. So first we'll add a little bit of light to the carousel. In the floor, on the sides, I'm going to add a light in the carousel in the center of each one of the rows of 5, just on the inside, and in the center of each one of the rows of 3. So you can see me just add it now. It's just going to keep the carousel nice and light, and we might even also include like a similar thing. We might also do a similar thing to the roof. Now, some of these lights may interfere with the redstone signal. If that does happen, we'll have to dive back down underneath the carousel later, but fingers crossed none of this will affect the redstone signal. Is it turned off? It's currently turned off, and if we hit the switch, hopefully it will all turn on, and it's all turned on. So nothing that we've just done by adding any redstone blocks has broken anything, because there was a chance that that might have happened. Also, what we have to do is we have to grab ourselves the red stained clay. We're going to add a layer of red stained clay that goes all the way around the center of the carousel. So can you remember how we have this exposed block of redstone that goes all the way from the top to the bottom? Well, we've now just filled that in with our red stained clay. So now that we have done the center of the carousel, we're now going to do the ceiling here. I've realized we have a problem. Can you see where we have the blocks of redstone that are underneath the lamps? These are going to interfere with the roof. So what I'm proposing is we destroy each one of the blocks behind the current redstone lamps. We replace them with blocks of redstone, and then underneath these new blocks of redstone that we're now placing. And by the way, we're going to have to destroy the original blocks of redstone that we had to power the lamps originally. Well, I think that we should just simply place redstone lamps underneath the new blocks of redstone. So I think we should place like lamps here maybe? Or maybe what we could do is we can leave that like that, so they're now powered, right? And we can take out our red stained clay and we can fill in the top of the carousel like this, and we simply leave holes for the lamps. So instead of having them powered by the blocks of redstone that we had originally, we now have new blocks of redstone. Those don't get in anybody's way. And we also have fancy lights. I think that that's a win-win for everybody. And we still get to fill the top of this in. We don't have any awful blocks that are all awful and exposed. And everybody's pretty happy. Or at least I am. And, well, I mean, that's important, right? It's important to be happy, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I've actually just about finished filling the top of this in with redstone clay. And once we've done that, once the roof is done, which I think it is now, right? I don't know if we're missing any blocks or anything like that. Now we're going to add some lamps around the center just to light things up. You can add them in any row that you want. I would suggest that one. I'm also going to add a layer of quartz stairs that goes all the way around the base of the little center of the carousel, the merry-go-round. There we are. And one of the very few last things that are missing from this are going to be the horses that go around the carousel. So take out your spruce wood fence and mark out where you might think that you'd like some horses. Whether it's on the inside of the track, on the outside of the track. I would alternate if I were you. I'd have like a horse on the inside, a horse on the outside, inside, outside. And I'd kind of like spread things about quite evenly. Like that. Maybe even thin it out a little bit. Maybe you don't need that many. Because, I mean, there is a certain point where it's a little bit much, if you know what I mean. So, maybe thin things out, like that. So, on top of the spruce wood fence, stack a quartz slab. Behind the quartz slab, place a quartz slab. Form a quartz block, I meant, on top of the spruce wood fence, then place a quartz slab behind it, then in front of and above the quartz block, place a quartz stair. Connect the quartz block to the roof using spruce wood fence, and there you have a horse. Looks quite nice. I'm going to thin these out a little bit more, I think. I think I'm going to figure out where they're going to go as I place them. Each one of the horses looks like that. So on top of the fence, place a quartz block, place a quartz slab behind the upper half of the quartz block, place a quartz stair above and in front of the quartz block, and also connect the center quartz block all the way up to the top of the carousel. Make sure that each one of the horses is kind of like facing a logical direction, kind of like to the outside of the carousel. And there's not too much more to tell you here. If you want to change the color of the horses, if you want to make them all different colors, if you want to have some orange ones, because you can use the clay for that, if you want to have some sandstone ones, if you want to have some wooden ones, feel free. Go wild, have what you like. I like quartz and just quartz because I just like the look of them. I think that they look nice. I think that they look clean. I think that it looks a bit modern. It just kind of goes with the color scheme as well. Like, we do have a whole red and white thing going on here. So make all of your horses. Change them if you like. If you have like a better model in mind for the horses, then definitely add that. You don't have to stick to my thing. You don't have to just do it because I've done it. You can use something different if you like. I mean, make like little animals if you can. It's completely up to you. But there you go. We have our carousel. We have all of the horses on it. Now, that is most of the aesthetic stuff done with the carousel. The last thing that I'm going to do, actually, is I'm just going to add more lamps about the place. So I'm going to add a lamp on the outer part of the carousel, and I want it to come out of each one of the corners of the carousel, and I want it to leave a gap of 2 in the ground diagonally. So, like, leaving 2 diagonals, I'm going to place redstone lamp on top, quartz slab in there. And I just want to have some light surrounding the carousel, just because I think that that'd look quite nice, and that's going to come out of each one of the corners diagonally. It's powered by a block of redstone with a redstone lamp on top of it, with a quartz slab on top of that. And that's it, mostly for decoration. Like, that's about as much decoration as you're going to get. The only things that I'm going to do now are, I'm just going to refine the ground a little bit. So the idea is going to be that I want to have a block of quartz, like a boundary that goes around here with dark oak fence in it, on top of it, and I want to have stone slabs surrounding it. So I want to like dig out in front of this, and I want to leave a gap of 1 between each one of the lamps like this. So on the left hand side I want to leave a gap of 1 around the lamps like this. And I want to connect it to the opposite end here. I don't know why. I must have placed this... Oh, I placed this lamp in the wrong position. It's actually supposed to be here. Whoops. Silly me. I kind of goofed on that one, but that's supposed to be there. There we go. And we also want to make sure that we create a fence that goes around the little control box. We want that to have a fence around it that has a fence of 1, and we want to make sure that we actually have... We want to have enough of an area that we can actually walk around around the sides of this little carousel here. So we might want to come out a little bit further in the front, maybe like as far as here perhaps. Yeah, make sure that we can actually access the control room for the carousel. But you can see here that I've now kind of like figured out an area that that kind of like goes all the way around the carousel like this. Like I figured out a nice box. Inside this box, I'm going to place quartz. On top of that, I'm going to place dark oak fence. I'm going to fill the rest of the area in with stone slabs. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we will have our working carousel. And I'll be back in just a second once I've done all of that stuff. I know, a lot of stuff to do. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what the outside of the carousel looks like once it is complete. Once we have all of that stone slabs down, and all the quartz, and all of the dark fence posts. So once we have all of that stuff, this is what the outside of the carousel looks like. It looks quite nice. And of course, the one last thing that you might want to add to your carousel is some minecarts. You might want to throw a minecart on top of each one of the powered rails, and that way you'll actually be able to ride around in the carousel or on the carousel, and I guess that's kind of the goal. If you want it, maybe you just want the aesthetics of the carousel in your theme park or wherever you want to put it. A public park it'd also look very good there as well. And all we have to do once we've done that, if we want to turn it on, like I said, you flip that switch. So now it should have power. Hop in a minecart, give it a bit of a push, and you should be able to go round and round and round and round until, I mean, we keep clipping that horse, which is really irritating me, but you go round and round and round until you're bored. And if you ever want to turn it off again, you just bloop, flip that switch, and it is off. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the carousel. Our working carousel. Yeah, my first little redstone project. It didn't go too badly, I think. I hope that you guys like this video. I hope that you like the carousel. If you're happy with it, please give this video a like. Give it a share. I'd really appreciate it. Comment down below. What else would you like to see next? Would you like to see me make a roller coaster? Would you like me to make a house? Let me know down there in comments what you want to see me make next. Also, was there an easier way to do the redstone circuitry there? I don't know if there was. I'm not good at redstone in the slightest. So, let me know. Also, subscribe if you want to see some more, because we make carousels around here. We also make Ferris wheels. This is the beginnings of a theme park. We now have 2 things in here. It actually looks a lot better with 2 things, so subscribe for all of this madness. Also, if you do make this, show me a picture of it on Twitter, at TSMC360. Follow me there, send me some pictures. I love to see that stuff, I honestly do. If you want to make anything else by me, like if you want to make like the rest of that theme park, or if you want to work on a city, maybe like if you want to make a barber shop or a tea room or Domino's Pizza or a couple of townhouses or a church, that's a hearse down there, a graveyard, we have a Wendy's, chip shop, pet shop, you guys get the idea, we have loads of stuff, and I've made an entire park over there. So we do loads of crazy things around here, and that is Planet Express over there in the distance from Futurama. Yeah, we get into a load of different things around here, guys. we do a little bit of things around here, if you know what I'm saying. So if you want to see any of this madness and more, check out the cards, check out the description below. Do remember to subscribe, and then you can keep up with the channel nice and easily. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.